Avid IU cyclists say they have health concerns about the track at Bill Armstrong Stadium. We have an IU Newsnet exclusive straight ahead.
We've heard all about the murder of Jill Behrman, but today her mother shows us how Jill's legacy is still impacting people 20 years after her death.
From IU student Buddhist Priest, we'll tell you about one man's journey to find peace. Welcome to IU Newsnet. I'm Kristina Nickell.
And I'm Karli VanCleave. Last week we told you that IU has canceled every cycling event scheduled at Bill Armstrong Stadium for the rest of the semester.
But IU Newsnet has learned that some riders are convinced their safety is the primary reason. So what's wrong with the track, and what could it mean for the Little 500? IU Newsnet's Maxwell Glenn has an update to the story he broke last week.
You see the crashes on race day, but for Little 500 riders, the effects of the race don't stop there. The cinders they race on provide some unique challenges. The cinders get into injuries, but riders also end up breathing them in throughout the race, causing what riders like to call track hack.
So when you inhale it, it gets in your lungs and then it makes you cough. Your snot is usually, gray with the cinder dust. And sometimes the mucus that you cough up is too, but you can feel it, and it almost feels like if you have asthma and you can feel when your lungs start to itch, like right before an attack, that's what it feels like.
That's the main reason you need to go see the EMS on site, is to get, even if you feel like you're not that injured, to get your scrapes clean.
Given that this has been a problem in the past with construction underway at Bill Armstrong Stadium, riders are concerned whether this problem will get any better before the race in the spring.
From what I've seen out on the track this season, it's been particularly dusty and the surface has been particularly bumpy and loose. So with the dust, it just means that there will be more track hack. You'll be breathing in more of that because more of it gets kicked up.
I think it just might be a new learning curve. Like if the consistency is changed permanently, you're gonna have to learn how to ride on the track again.
While riders are preparing for anything, IUSF is still confident that the Little 500 will not be affected.
Right now we're in the thick of tournament time with soccer, so we're kind of at a standstill.
We have a lot of treatments that are going on, and we're helping heal the cinders, so to speak. We have different chemical methods we're using. We're adding different materials, and we're helping till the track, so we expect it to be in really good shape for the spring.
For IU Newsnet, I'm Maxwell Glenn.
This is a developing story. We will continue to update you as we get closer to all the cycling events next semester that lead up to the Little 500.
The lights went out across campus almost all day last Friday, with IU's biggest power outage in over 30 years. At 10:14 a.m., the power went out, affecting 55 buildings on campus. Full power was restored late that night around 9 p.m. IU spokesperson Chuck Carney says it began with a cable failure at the distribution center just south of the IMU, which started a small fire and spread to an energy substation. Many students tell us the outage disrupted their classes and their ability to get their work done on campus.
And then I came over to Franklin to see that the power was out, which was a bummer because I need to work on stuff, but I just sort of figured it'd be up in a little bit.
An IU Notify alert was sent out about the situation. IU says they are working with Duke Energy to find out the exact cause of the power outage.
Well, it's not even winter and this weather is breaking records. This was the scene Monday as snow fell and conditions became slippery fast. We broke a record for the 2 inches of snow that fell this early. We have also experienced unusually cold temperatures these last few days. Typically, we see averages between the 30s and 50s, but this year we've already seen temperatures dipping to single digits and only making it up to the teens. I know it's not only the snow and cold that will delay you if you're driving on I-69 between Bloomington and Indianapolis. It's a traffic jam. Workers are shutting down traffic this week on I-69 in multiple 20-minute intervals. This is to install the beams of a massive bridge that will go across I-69 near Martinsville High School. The stoppages should wrap up by the end of the week. You can follow updates on Twitter at I-69 Finish Line.
After almost 3 years and $30 million, the Sidney and Lois Eskenazi Museum of Art in the heart of campus is now back open. IU Newsnet's Michaela Demesny went to check it out.
Take a look at the newly renovated Sydney and Lois Eskenazi Museum of Art. The first thing you notice is the soaring atrium. The museum originally opened in 1982, was designed by renowned architect IMP. The museum has been closed for over 2 years, and some students still haven't even set foot in the museum. The grand opening included a scavenger hunt, guided tours, and live music. The museum now has all new entrances, exhibits, and an education centre. You can find a Picasso here and many other well-known works of art, plus new pieces as well. Organisers say the reopening has been a long time coming.
So we are so excited to be here at opening day, have the doors open. We've been waiting for this day, a lot of planning, and I think we're really pleased with where we're at.
This renovation came about with $15 million from Sydney and Lois Eskenazi and an additional $15 million match from IU. The renovation added 20,000 square feet to the museum as well as a lecture hall. And there's this, an upscale coffee store with specialty food items as well as a gift shop. Entrance to the museum is free. Now back to you guys.
Veterans Day on the IU campus had particular significance this year. IU has been named one of the best school for vets by Military Times magazine. IU has created several programs to distinguish the excellence of veterans and student officers in training. IU's ROTC program has been highly ranked for several years.
And that's what this program is all about. We are building the next generation of Air Force officers, the future leaders of the greatest Air Force in the history of the world. And we take that responsibility very seriously. And you know, the awards, the accolades that we've gotten, I think kind of reflects that mission.
The Air Force ROTC here at IU is ranked the #1 program out of 20 universities.
The IDS reports that a ransomware attack held the files of a Bloomington business hostage at the end of October. The ransom, $4,000 in Bitcoin, but MedPro Services ended up paying a total of $10,000 or 1.5 Bitcoins to access the encrypted files. MedPro Services reported the incident to the FBI and filed a report to the Bloomington Police Department for insurance purposes. And issues like ransomware are the reason the General Assembly is giving IU $300,000 to help fight election fraud in 92 counties across the state. IU Cybersecurity Research Center will partner with the Indiana Secretary of State to teach election officials how to respond to various problems. Those problems include power outages, ransomware attacks, or social media threats. The training will be complete in time for the 2020 elections.
Jill Behrman was an IU student murdered 20 years ago. Her case is back in the news because her convicted killer may get a new trial or walk free from prison. IU Newsnet's Libby Grossman joins us now with the perspective of Jill's mother. Libby?
Jill's mother, Marilyn, had put the trial behind her. Now she is pulling strength from her family and friends and is immersing herself in the work she's done in Jill's name. A course in self-defense is sponsored in part by the family of an IU student these people never met, and the mother who hopes her daughter Jill's legacy will save lives.
Having that security, that reassurance in your mind that if you are required to use a certain technique in any situation, you are capable of doing so.
IU student Jill Behrman was abducted and murdered after she left for a solo bike ride 20 years ago. A jury found John Myers guilty of her murder, but now he may be released or retried. Jill's mother, Marilyn, who works at the media school, says social media has been her lifeline to friends and family.
Getting lots of Facebook and Twitter and just all of that, which of course back in the day, none of this stuff existed when all of this first happened.
Jill Behrman was an athlete, confident and independent. She played numerous sports and had lifelong friends.
I'm friends with many of her classmates from high school, and actually growing up, most of her friends she went all the way through school with.
Which is why the family started the Jill Behrman Color Run, an annual campus event to raise money for victims of violence and for scholarships. It goes on, rain or shine.
There were a lot of people that made a point of registering, and most showed up. It was such a rainy day. It just tells me they care.
And Marilyn Behrman says no matter what happens next, Jill's legacy is intact.
Yeah, there you go.
Empowering a whole new generation of young men and women. Jill Behrman's convicted killer, John Myers, was sentenced to 65 years in prison. But 2 months ago, a judge ordered Myers to be either released or retried because the court says his lawyers made mistakes in his case.
So Libby, how have these conversations with Marilyn, Jill's mother, been going?
She is just an incredibly strong woman, and all the things that she has been doing in Jill's name have been to help others, and she's just a really strong person.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great way to keep her legacy.
Definitely.
Well, thanks, Libby. Still ahead on IU Newsnet, IU student government holds a forum on the issue of gun violence and how to stay safe.
And a trailblazer for LGBTQ+ rights here on campus prepares to retire and reflects on 25 years of progress and challenges. Stay with us. The LGBTQ+ Culture Center on the IU campus is about to celebrate its 25th anniversary, and one man has been there since the beginning.
IU Newsnet's Ella Hunt has the Newsnet chapter in his story.
Doug Botter is considered a role model for many people involved in the LGBTQ+ movement. He has seen a lot of changes in his 25 years as the Culture Center director here in Bloomington, and he says it's time to move on to a new chapter in his life. Doug Botter has been at IU's LGBTQ+ Culture Center since day one.
I remember them asking, can we count on you to be in the position for at least 2 or 3 years?
25 years later, as the center celebrates an anniversary, he celebrates retirement. Over the years, Doug has become a pillar of the center to his colleagues and a friendly face to students.
Hello.
And in his time here, a lot has changed.
It was such a different time. People were coming out when they came to college. There was no such thing as a gay-straight alliance in a high school. These days, students are coming out earlier and are wanting to go to a college or a university that they know is going to be supportive of them.
For students who came out in high school, the center provides that support in their daily lives at IU.
It's just a constant source of comfort. I know if I'm ever having a bad day or need reassurance, there are people there that can help me.
From more advocacy work to a bigger focus on intersectionality, a lot has changed at the LGBTQ+ Center in the past 25 years. But for Doug, he thinks that it's changed him, too.
I'm probably more open than I've ever been. I'm planning to write a book in my retirement called The Privilege of Being Queer. So I've begun to see what at one time in my life I thought was a curse as an amazing blessing in many ways.
The retirement celebration is coming up in mid-November, and it's clear that as Doug leaves his job as director, he also leaves a living legacy at the LGBTQ+ Culture Center. The 25th anniversary celebration and Doug's retirement brunch take place this weekend at the IMU. You can find more information and register to attend at lgbtq.indiana.edu. Now back to you.
And National Transgender Awareness Week began yesterday, and activists in Bloomington are doing their part to speak out about the issue. Around downtown, you might be seeing names and ages spray painted on the sides of buildings. Those names represent people who have been killed because of being transgender. Activists say there aren't many conversations about this issue. The National Transgender Awareness Week leads up to the International Transgender Day of Remembrance next week on November 20th.
Just this week, a gunman opened fire at a high school near Los Angeles. The dramatic increase in incidents like that one brought together the IU student government and the union board for a public discussion about gun violence. Almost a month after the brick house shooting and other shootings off campus, students took the opportunity to express their opinions. Attendees read anonymous stories of what happened the night of the brick house shootings and people remembering coming face to face with the gunman that night. The panel allowed for questions, concerns, and improvements to safety.
We know that what federal statute tells us and what IU policy says isn't quite meeting the needs of students now. And so what we want is a different tool for students to actually be able to understand this is what's going on in the community.
And to honor the house show community, the band Flower Mouth closed out the event.
It's just over a month now until December graduation, and IU has announced the speakers. Indiana Governor Eric Holcomb will deliver the 2019 winter commencement address. This year, IU presented him with the IU's Bicentennial Medal as a lifelong Hoosier and supporter of Indiana University. IU will confer an honorary degree to former Indiana Senator Dan Coates, who just stepped away as Director of National Intelligence. Kumbal Subbaswamy, the former Dean of IU Bloomington's College of Arts and Sciences, will also get an honorary degree. The ceremony begins at 10 o'clock on December 21st at Assembly Hall. There's a new campus survey on scooter usage, and it appears to say that they are here to stay. IU government surveyed students, faculty, and staff at IU about the importance, risks, and affordability of scooters compared with other transportation methods. Among the concerns, injury, scooter speed, sidewalk use, and parking. The conclusion?
There's a lot of issues that we need to work to prevent, and we need to work to stop in terms of injury and just safety protocol, but I think it's also a great opportunity for students to be able to have fun, enjoy the time with their friends that they have riding it, and use them for very practical purposes too.
The majority of students and faculty surveyed agreed that scooters are affordable and have a place here on IU's campus. IUSG will present their findings to the Board of Trustees in December.
On a campus where life can go fast, one IU master's student has found a profound way to slow down. He's become a Buddhist priest. IU Newsnet's Suman Yang has the story.
On Sunday morning, people gathered and did meditation at a Zen Buddhism temple in Bloomington. Doju has been practicing Buddhism for 8 years. He was anxious about his future as a biologist at that time.
I learned the practice, and I felt that it really helped me to focus on the here and now and just sort of, live each day for what it is and not focus so much on what's to come or what happened yesterday. With that in mind, let's try doing a few minutes of Zazen.
In Zen Buddhism, meditation helps people to be more focused on here and now. Doju knew Zen Buddhism from books in high school, and 4 years ago, Doju moved to Bloomington to practice with his teacher, Okumura-san, and decided to become a priest.
Continue our effort to transmit Zen Buddhism from Asia or Japan, in my case, to this country.
Doju is a master's student in religious studies at IU and has a job in Bloomington. In Japanese Buddhism, a priest is not that different from a normal person. They can still get married and live in the local community. In Buddhism philosophy, it said people suffer because they create attachments.
We often think that we have to do something extraordinary or something special in order to be successful. But I think just really living in a down-to-earth, normal way is really healthy.
As a priest, Doju follows the philosophy and tries to live a normal life in Zen Buddhism. For IU Newsnet, I'm Suman Yang.
Karli, I don't know about you, but that just made me really want to slow down, relax a little bit.
Yeah, just a little meditation for our show here today.
Yeah, of course. But with other news, the IU football team is ranked for the first time in many years. Griffin Gonzales has the details in sports on the march towards the bowl game.
Plus, the IU soccer team is fighting for a place in the Big Ten championship, and it's getting downright physical. That story coming up in a special report. IU sports now getting some national attention. Both the football team and the women's basketball team have cracked the top 25.
And Griffin joins us now with the sports, so tell us, I want to know everything about football.
Now here's the thing, football is making news when Katrina goes on the Instagram story and posts an IU football post. That's big time.
I was excited. It's a big deal.
It's our top story tonight, so let's go ahead and start with that. For the first time in 25 years, there's a ranked football team in Bloomington. Tom Allen's football squad found the respect of the nation this week after being ranked as the 24th best team in the country. And we chatted with some of them to see how it feels. It was one of those moments where you won't forget where you were when the news about the breakthrough hit.
I was like, it was exciting. I've been here 5 years, and it hasn't been done in a super long time. That's what we came to Indiana to do, to try to change the program around and become a top 10 school.
I was just at home, just chilling. I was really waiting for the AP polls to come out.
For the first time since 1994, Indiana football is ranked in the AP Top 25. However, for freshman and former All-American Tywan Mullen, the ranking did not come as a surprise.
We have guys that want to do it, that want to be here, and that's actually buying into what the coaches are saying. So that really played a big part of more players buying in to what Coach Allen and what the coaching staff is doing.
Fans are even getting in on the fun.
Really excited about it. It makes just walking around, you can kind of feel a vibe.
There's energy here in Bloomington that probably hasn't been here for a long time.
I really believe in this team, and I think we're going to go out there and beat some really good teams at the end of the season.
Now, while fans around the nation are getting excited for this Indiana football top 25 ranking, those who work in this building still aren't satisfied.
Enjoy the moment, but also have zero level of satisfaction that we have accomplished anything yet.
Very excited, but just not satisfied, because I know as the season goes on, we could possibly get higher ranked, and not just us being ranked, just helping us stay confident, I should say.
That's what we came to Indiana to do, to try to change the program around and become a top 10 school. Top in the country. You're trying to earn a Big Ten championship, national championship, whatever.
The road for this now ranked Indiana football team doesn't get much easier either. This week they're on the road to face off against a top 10 Penn State squad that is hungry for a win following a loss to the Golden Gophers last Saturday. Well, it's playoff season for men's soccer teams around the country, and of course that is the case for Indiana as the men's soccer team played in their first Big Ten tournament game this past week. IU Newsnet's Connor Hines has the latest.
With a 2-0 win over Ohio State on Sunday, Indiana is once again headed back to College Park for a rematch with Maryland, but this time for a right to play in this year's Big Ten championship. Freshman Josh Penn and redshirt junior A.J. Palazzolo both came through in the win for IU, while the Hoosier defense turned in another stellar performance, recording its 7th shutout of the year.
The game became pretty physical from the start, and then I thought the guys iced the game really well in the corner and did a really good job of managing the last few minutes. So, good win. We're obviously excited to be moving on, most importantly.
The win provided yet another valuable learning lesson for a young Indiana team. Now, some may remember this was the same Ohio State team that IU walloped 5-1 just a couple weeks ago here in Bloomington. Yet the physicality and closeness of today's match showed yet again that nothing is ever given in the Big Ten.
Yeah, we beat them 5-1, but you look at the team we played today and you wouldn't see that they're a gritty team. Everyone's going to fight, that this is some team's season, so we're going for a title, but every team's going to battle like it's their last game.
Even Todd Yeagley was a bit surprised with the physicality of Sunday's match, but the result should go a long way in preparing his group for what's on the horizon this postseason. Indiana hasn't dropped a match since its last trip to College Park, and will certainly be ready this time around for everything Friday night brings.
I told the guys, you want to stay at home and watch the semifinals on TV. It's not a good feeling. You want to be in action. You want to be where the trophy is.
In any case, the Hoosiers are playing their best soccer of the year, when it matters most. For IU Newsnet, I'm Connor Hines.
Up next for the Hoosiers, a face-off against Maryland in College Park this Friday. Well, let's dive into the Indiana swim and dive squads, where the Hoosiers hosted a clash of top 10 squads this past week. The number 2 ranked Texas Longhorns and the 9th ranked Louisville Cardinals made their way to Bloomington to face off against a number 4 ranked Cream and Crimson squad in this short course tri-meet. And while the Hoosiers did show out, it was all Texas in this one. Texas would sweep all men's and women's races, while the Hoosiers would go a combined 2-2 on the weekend. Top performers for the Hoosiers include Mohamed Sami on the men's side, who continues to have a dominant season with 2 top 5 times nationally. And as for the women, how about Noelle Peplowski, swimming the 4th fastest recorded time this season in the 200 breaststroke. Up next, the Hoosiers will make their way to Rocky Top, Tennessee for an invitational hosted by the Volunteers. And finally tonight, Indiana women's basketball team moved up 3 spots this past week in the AP poll to number 21. This is the highest that the Hoosiers have ever been ranked, and frankly, they're deserving of it. The Hoosiers are coming off a 64-point win against Nicholls State this past Sunday, where Indiana set another record with 33 assists, the most in a single game in team history. The Hoosiers shot 63% from the field, and that may be thanks to their key freshman, Mackenzie Holmes. In her first 2 games as a Hoosier, Holmes is averaging 18 points a game and has already locked up Big Ten Freshman of the Week honors. The team matches that young talent with heavy depth as the Hoosiers are looking to have one of their best seasons to date. You can actually check out those number 21 ranked Indiana Hoosiers this coming weekend as they face off against Jackson State at home this Sunday. That one's scheduled to tip around 2 o'clock. So lots of stuff going on. Got all my scripts here. Lots of stuff going on in IU sports this week, guys.
Okay, but I have to admit, and I know you're going to make fun of me for this, but I am on the football bandwagon. I am just so excited about this upcoming game.
I'm glad. I'm glad you weren't on it for the past 25 years when they actually needed fans in the stands, but I'm glad you're on it when they're ranked.
Hey, it's never too late.
Now, Griffin, you're taking the trip out to Penn State this weekend. What do you think is going to happen there?
I am taking the trip out to Penn State. Super excited. We leave tomorrow. A little nervous, to be honest with you, because it's the first time IU's been ranked, and not going to be good if you just blow that opportunity right out of the water. So hopefully we get a competitive game. I don't think the Hoosiers are going to win this week. It's too tough of a road trip, but hopefully a close matchup.
All right. See, we'll stay warm out there. Thank you so much for coming in, Griffin.
Thanks, guys.
And now Bloomington did see its first big snow this week.
And that means those colorful fall leaves are coming to an end. Let's take a look. This could be possibly the last time seeing those leaves in Brown County. You can see the winter weather has now left the trees almost bare. The cam updates every 15 minutes. Again, you can check this progress out at browncounty.com.
That's all we have today for IU Newsnet. Be sure to check out the IU Newsnet Daily this week. I'm Kristina Nickell.
And I'm Karli VanCleave. From all of us at IU Newsnet, including the many behind the scenes, thanks for watching.